I'm Steph Stricklen with GeekWire Studios. We're here at AWS reInvent 2024, and we're about to talk about the cloud and all of the innovations and the speed with which companies who are adopting cloud are growing. So I'd like to introduce you to my guest right now. I'm joined by Scott Likens, the Chief AI Engineering Officer at PwC US. How are you?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm wonderful, thanks for asking. This conference really showcases what the companies at the forefront of cloud adoption and cloud strategy are able to accomplish. And they've really become a focus point. That being said, my perception is there's companies out there that are still skeptical about AI's true potential. How do you view that, and how do you work on coaching companies to improve their strategic imperatives?
I always start with a little history. AI is not a new topic. 75 years or so. I mean, this is 7 decades of really smart people. And I think because we've had this promise of the AI, of the future, and we haven't necessarily seen it, but 2.5, 3 years ago, when generative AI made it basically accessible to everyone, we had this real pivot point. And so I start with the history. We shouldn't have been surprised, but we were. And I think last year, there was still a lot of hesitation. So we did a lot of education, there was a lot of experimentation, but people were hesitating. They were trying to find that silver bullet, and there isn't one. This is a very new technology, and I've been in technology a long time, longer than I want to admit. I worked on the first browser, so I saw the internet, and I saw that vision, but it took 30 years. When you think about generative AI, within a few months, we started to see value, but it's a human problem. It's moving too fast. So I think the hesitation is, it's hard to understand, and we're worried, and we're risk adverse sometimes. But I think now we've pivoted, and from the executive level down, they're seeing there's a real difference here. And that promise of AI for 70 years, we're starting to see the value creation that we always wanted. So there's been hesitation, that's a human problem. The technology has never moved faster. I think the innovation and invention is unbelievable, like we've never seen. And I don't see it slowing down. So waiting is not a good strategy. I bring that up a lot. The wait and see which one's gonna win, that's not working right now. And it's on the backs of the investment in the cloud over the last decade plus. It's on the investment of the data work we've been doing for decades. So all of the pieces were there. I think it's perfect timing, and I mean, it's such a fantastic time to be in this technology.
You mentioned early browsers. I'm an Ask Jeeves girl. I mean, that was magic at the time, right?
Mosaic.
Okay, but the point being is look how far we've come.
Yes.
And I think for businesses, PwC has done the research, has talked to the companies, and you have actually shown that companies that have a broad cloud adoption strategy and they don't wait and see are in fact growing faster and are in the top performing companies out there when they make this adoption strategy. So with that being said, AI does have the power to disrupt entire industries. We are certainly seeing that. What additional points would you like to offer to companies who might get left behind if they don't get on board?
So we're starting to see that move.
The have and have nots in the space.
We have a great graph, and I don't have the exact numbers, but I call it the seeing is believing. So when we asked 4,500 CEOs, we do a survey every year, 27 years. So we have a good data set. Last year was all about AI. And the ones that had tried AI had a massive difference in investment than the ones that hadn't tried it. So seeing was believing. They saw some early results in those experiments. They changed their tech strategy, they changed their funding model, they increased everything around technology, not just AI. So it brought along all of the innovation investments, which makes me happy. We're seeing an uptick in quantum computing, an uptick in blockchain that we thought was gone. So the seeing is believing is one thing. And then the ability to get products and services to market faster, 40-point difference. If I was using Gen AI or I wasn't, better quality products, high 30s. So huge difference for the ones that had already started. So that the speed is really key right now. The invention, and that's part of the complexity. I got to keep up with that, and then I got to change my business. And the piece that slows it down is the workforce. We have to bring them along. It's a new skill, it's a new muscle. So we've been really passionate about building a trusted system and bringing your workforce along. Because the workforce, this gives them a superpower, but it's a new muscle. We've got to work out differently. We've never seen it before. So that's the challenge. It's a human challenge as that technology spins.
How great that Gen AI can also help educate people and get that workforce trained for that too, right? I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. You're talking about things, blockchain, quantum, things you're familiar with in your previous iterations even before doing this, but I want to talk about PwC's partnership with AWS, specifically offering me some real-time examples of how this partnership has helped your clients grow and achieve their goals.
So I can tell you that, ironically, some of the first industries that moved were regulated industries, which is not typically the case, especially with cloud. With Gen AI, the regulated industry saw such an opportunity, and our partnership with AWS gives us the right tools to build that trusted layer. Right? We have to start with that trusted technology. If you see some of the announcements this week, they make me very excited. New foundational models, I'm very excited. That's great. The automated reasoning, the ability to use math and machines to actually verify the outputs of these generative tools, that's critical for a regulated industry. You can't get things wrong. You have to follow regulation. So we saw immediate movements in things like pharma life sciences and financial services. There's just so much opportunity. And the cloud platform of AWS gives us all those tools. And again, this week, there's some amazing things coming out. And then I focus on what I grew up doing, software engineering. The amount of advancement in software engineering and building technology. If you heard some of the releases of Q and the different versions of how we're going to enable our people to write better high quality code, follow those regulations. Developers don't like rules. Well, these tools are going to help us go faster. So we got some of those in preview, and that way we can do the research and development. We can start to wire it into the way we help our clients. So that's where the partnership really, makes me excited. We code, research and develop things, and we can bring them to market faster.
My last question to you, because I know we're running low on time, is businesses, one of the things that holds them back is their fear of making a mistake. Can you offer a takeaway to folks who might be watching this? What are some of the biggest mistakes that you have seen made that maybe people can take into account as they're getting ready to move their companies forward?
The biggest one to me is waiting for one silver bullet. And the question I get almost every time is, what's the use case? There is no use case. In waiting to find that perfect solution, this technology is ever evolving, and you've got to build that workforce muscle, and waiting doesn't help you do that. So I think the waiting and the hesitating, that's a human emotion. If you look at the data, you look at the ROI and value we're already seeing, you shouldn't be waiting.
Scott, you brought that conversation full circle. I love it. Thank you very much for making the time, for giving me an education kind of on where you sit in all this. Thanks for joining us here.
Thanks so much.
I'm Steph Stricklen. You're watching GeekWire Studios.